Hey, what's up everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I made a Laker video, deleted it. My thinking is, to be completely honest with you, I was doing a little too much complaining and I just didn't like the video. I didn't like it. I wanted to get all that out. And usually I don't mind leaving rants, but I want to be a bit more constructive. Hopefully I can be that with this particular one. But essentially what I'm learning is that Lakers are willing to give up 2 first-round picks to make moves. And I understand they're trying to adhere to the timeline of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And if you value that, since so much has already been invested, and you to continue investing in it, and they have the evidence that shows that they should because they won a championship in 2020. So that's really what it is. I think people feel like the worst path is to rebuild, especially without a pick in 2025. So they would rather just go with the lesser of two evils, how they feel they see it, which is to mortgage a little more of our future, which I don't think is the better move, because I think that that's ultimately what strangleholds them into having struggles with some of the stuff that they've been trying to do, like free agency and making trades. The less you have, the harder it is to get a good deal going. The harder it is to have the leverage and all that, as we talk about a lot. But it seems like Jeannie's committed to two picks, and she's willing to further mortgage. And I know LeBron and Clutch and others are putting a lot of pressure on them to do that, fans included, putting a lot of pressure on them in this free agency to make moves. Well, me personally, I haven't been upset with anything I've seen in free agency, because I didn't like anything that I saw. You know, I'm not one of those people that just believe in buying stuff just to be buying stuff. Oh, let me get this player, that player. The free agency pool was not very good this year. It really wasn't. I don't think I've seen a single name of a player that I just had to have. You know, the free agent pool, people talk about the draft being as bad as it's been in a long time. The free agency pool was much worse than the draft, in my opinion. It's just not a good year. You got Klay Thompson, who's past his prime. You got Paul George, who's past his. These guys are in their 30s. They're more so names than they are production at this point. So most of the good stuff is locked up in contracts, not destined to be free agents, maybe even ever. And if they are destined to be free agents, it sure ain't this summer. So for me, it's like, if somebody opens up a market and everything in the store is rotten, I'm not going to be spending my money. I'm just going to leave the store. And that's kind of how I look at the NBA free agent pool this year. It's just not a good store. It's a rotten batch of stuff that they've got to sell. So why am I mad at my team for not buying a bunch of stuff that's priced up but not up to par? I mean, I don't get it. But I think the idea is that the casual fan and some who are not so casual really value some of these players more so than they probably should. I personally don't think the worst of two evils is to run it back without making any moves, because I think there will be better moves to make in the in-season. Like at the beginning of the year, after the in-season tournament, I think you're likely to get more bang for your buck then than you probably are right now if you're the Lakers. So you can get Jalen Hood-Schifino back on the court so he could play up his value. So you could possibly play up the value of some of these guys that ain't worth much right now. A guy has a good season, suddenly you don't even want to trade him. Everybody's talking about, oh, we got to get rid of D'Angelo Russell. But you're not bringing back nothing more productive than D'Angelo Russell. You're opening up a point guard hole by moving D'Angelo Russell if you don't trade him for a point guard that can actually do what he does. So it's like, I think people just want to see moves being made. And quite honestly, there are no good moves to be made that I can see. You probably are best to leave it alone if what you're going to do is going to make you worse, which is essentially what I see there. The Lakers are going to have to trade away more picks to make something decent happen, and that decent something is likely not something that you're going to want on contract for as many years as you're likely going to inherit it. Think a guy like Jeremy Grant. You really want to pay him well into his 30s? I mean, not really. DeMar DeRozan, from what I understand, the only way we're going to get him is if we do a sign and trade and give him a 3-year deal. 3 years from now, that dude's going to be like 39. I don't want him on contract for any amount of money at 39. I want him to sign a 1-year deal or sign the mid-level. And so it's like, these are the different things that the Lakers have available to them, and people are putting a lot of pressure on the Lakers, putting a lot of pressure on Rob and Jeannie to do something. And my thing is, if all the somethings are bad somethings, then I don't want you to do anything. But that seems like that's just not an option, because quite honestly, people are listening to people they shouldn't, man. And that's really the reality of it. They want you to do things that are not going to make you better in the long run. And so that's really what my rant has been about. That's what my frustration has been about. And I hope that my team is starting to understand that we got to do things that help us both in the short term and the long term. And if the things that we're doing are going to hurt us in the long term, then you just cutting your nose, spite your face, man. You're not helping yourself. So that's really my point of view. I just want our organization to make better decisions with our assets. Make some sense. And I get it. You got to complete the team. You got to get a center. You got to get this. You got to get that. But if the store opens up and everything in there is rotten, you probably shouldn't spend your money. That's really what it comes down to. Don't spend your money on nonsense just because people want to see you shop and they're going to hold you accountable for not shopping. If it ain't nothing to buy, it ain't nothing to buy. And so that's really what it comes down to. You know, I smell weed right now, and I'm like, if I walk into a dispensary and the only thing they got is a bunch of low-grade stuff that is no good, likely ain't going to get nobody high, why am I going to go in there and spend money just to say I got some weed? I didn't get weed. I got garbage. We're not going to enjoy smoking that. So I know that's a hell of an analogy, but it really is the same thing. The free agency pool in the NBA is not very good this year. I'm very glad the Lakers didn't make any moves, because none of those people are worth having. What we need to do is try to play the trade market. Problem is, you don't have picks, and people know that, so they're going to try to force you to mortgage what little you have, and that's the problem. Because you don't have, people keep wanting you to give the little you do, so you'll fall apart and ultimately be a patsy in the market. You don't want to be a patsy in the market, so you don't adhere to that pressure. But the Lakers are adhering to that pressure because of public opinion, and that public opinion is going to coerce them right into a space where they have even more trouble next year when they try to make moves. So whatever moves the Lakers make, they're going to be stuck to. If this turns out to be a bad fit, whatever it is, or if that player turns out to be injury prone, you don't have the wiggle room to undo it. It's just going to be a bad move. You know, and that's what it really comes down to. It's just a bad move you're stuck to. And I just don't think I would sign up for that purposefully just because I got a bunch of fans that don't know any better. That's my job, is to put them in a position to be happy. If they want something that I know is ultimately going to make them unhappy, is it still my job to just do something? Just anything so that they can just shut up? No. It's my job to adhere to the wisdom that I hold that tells me what it is they think they want is going to make them unhappy. And that I'm going to also have to make them happy tomorrow with moves that they're going to demand that I make then. And if I do the wrong thing right now, I'm not going to be able to do those things then. That's the wisdom that you're supposed to have when you're in the position that they're in. And they don't have it. They don't have it. All they hear is noise. So you got to make a move. You got to make a move. But if everything there that they're selling is bad, and you don't have enough to really buy anything good if they were, what are you making moves for? What moves do you think you're going to make that's going to make you better? All you're going to do is just prolong the scrutiny that you've begun to see right now, but only it's going to be merited then, because you will have brought them something they do not like, trying to make them happy right now. Because they think it's going to make them happy, but when the player doesn't play up to its value, they're going to want you to trade him. And then what? When it's time to trade him, how you going to do that? You cannot. Because you would have gave away everything that would otherwise make an incentive for the other side to actually take something that shouldn't be. You got to give picks up to give away a player that people don't want. You see what's going on with the Zach LaVine situation? That's what the Lakers are signing up for. More of the same. The Chicago Bulls can't give Zach LaVine away. They talking about adding a first-round pick. It's not enough. Throw in 3. Maybe somebody will take that contract. You ever heard of Ben Simmons? Same thing. Nobody wants that contract. They're going to make them sit there for 5 years and wait for that thing to expire, because nobody would be willing to trade it. And the Lakers are signing up for that exact same problem. Bradley Beal. Nobody going to take that Bradley Beal contract with a no-trade clause on it. You know how expensive it is for Phoenix to get rid of that thing? And they don't even have picks to give to someone to take that thing. So they just gotta sit there on it. And so for me, it's like, yo, I'm not gonna sign up for that. The only thing the Lakers really need to be doing is trying to find assets that can double and triple you in value. That's it. If the player can't come here and be better than he was when we got him here, then we ain't got no business bringing him here, based on the mistakes that have already been made in that way. Everything we got is worth half. Why? Because of stuff like that. Because we made those mistakes. Because we let players, leave without getting value for them. You can't do it. Mistakes like that make you a bad team. So I'm trying to help. I know that everyone wants to see the LA Lakers make moves. I know everybody is confused about whether or not Clay is washed or not, or whether Paul George is actually 30-something, or whether DeMar DeRozan is actually 30-something. But newsflash, people, everything worth having is already on contract. And all the 30 teams in the league, anything that's worth having is on contract. You can't get to it unless you're willing to throw in picks in a trade. They didn't let the good stuff hit the market. That's the point. Everybody learned from losing stuff, watching us lose stuff without getting anything in return for it, that they make sure they pay their players upon expiration. They extend these contracts so that they don't ever have to have their players leave them for nothing. You see, that's why the market's no good. So if you're going to buy into a market like that, you're going to get the scraps left over. And people are sitting here not knowing the market, not understanding this dynamic, and they're just like, make a move. Oh my God, you're not making a move. Heck no, I'm not making a move. Everything in there is bad. There's nothing to do. The best thing to do is nothing when everyone's trying to sell you garbage for an exorbitant amount. The best thing you can do is nothing. And at least of all, listening to the people that don't know that everything in there is bad, telling you you need to buy something, any damn thing, so that they can be satisfied. That's exactly what the market wants. People like fans that don't know what the hell they're talking about to help boost the value of the garbage it's selling. It's all garbage. It's the point. And so no, Rob Pelinka should not be judged for not making moves. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do when he walks into a market and everything in there is trash. You leave and you come back another day when they've replenished better stuff. Because every move you make is going to affect whether you're able to make moves tomorrow based on our circumstances. So you definitely don't buy no garbage. So if I'm Rob Pelinka, I'm like, look, man, I'm going to tell y'all I'm willing to use 2 picks. I'm going to tell y'all that all this stuff is possible. And then I'm going to oops and not do a damn thing to start the season. Because all of the trash that I see is not worth purchasing at all. Klay Thompson's not worth no big contract. James Harden is no longer a $35 million player. You know, I'm telling you, this stuff should not be done, and teams are doing this stuff, and they're going to pay for it. Just like the Mozgov deal and the Luol Deng deal. Those deals were done the opening buzzer of free agency several years ago, and they were the worst deals we had ever done that lasted years and years and years and years. You think people were excited in the moment when they saw that Mozgov was signed? Some people really were, because they wanted to see the Lakers make moves. But if the only moves that are there to make are bad moves, then guess what? You are forcing your team by way of the pressure you're putting them through to make bad moves in the name of just moving. And I'm telling you, that's exactly what you don't want, Laker fans. That is exactly what you do not want. So that's really the gist of what I'm trying to express, man. I'm somewhat frustrated by what I'm hearing, but like I said, it doesn't matter about the conversation being had. You can say. It's about what you do. And as long as he doesn't actually mortgage any of those picks, I really don't have anything to complain about. You can tell everybody you're willing to mortgage picks, but like I said, just like look around and you realize there's nothing in the market actually worth what it is that little it is that you have. Now, if you had 8 picks to trade, sure, you can mortgage 3 of them. No problem. It's not even really mortgaging. If you have like 12 and 16 picks, then it's probably in your best interest to trade picks, because you have too many and you won't even be able to draft all of them. But the truth of the matter is, when you only have 3 and the market is bad, then you definitely shouldn't be making no moves of any kind involving those picks. And so for those who are saying the Lakers must make moves, give some thought to what it is I just expressed to you. Because the moves that you want that team to make is going to make them worse and make it harder to make moves when the market is better, which is exactly what the market wants to do to you. It wants to correct you. You trying to hold on to LeBron, Anthony Davis, Austin Reeves. The market wants to correct you, wants to give a roster spot to Bron's son, who's probably not supposed to be valued at that. It wants to correct you, Lakers. So that's what the Lakers are faced with. A very natural market correction. It wants to correct you. It needs to force you out. You are a cancer to the market in the sense that you are able to do things that are not supposed to be functionally done within the market. And as long as you're trying to work with that grain, it's going to do what it's supposed to do, which is delete you. You got to work around the margin so long as you want to try to keep this balance that is imbalanced in nature. You got to hold on to your picks. And so if you don't have the self-awareness to know where you stand in the market, Or if you're hearing the public pressure that doesn't understand any of this, you're about to be deleted by that market. It's going to force you into an unnatural and unhealthy rebuild, just like it did to the Golden State Warriors. You see what's happening to them. Because it's trying to do stuff that it's not supposed to do, moving unnaturally within that market, and the market's going to correct it. That's what it does. Everything going to be priced up. They trying to hold on to Steph Curry. They want to hold on to Kuminga. They have both those timelines going on. It's not working. The market wants to correct them. You see what they got for Klay Thompson? The best thing in that situation was a $16 million trade option. Woohoo! They ain't going to get nothing like Klay Thompson in returns for that. You got 2 picks too. But if they think they're going to be able to make good trades, they think they're going to get marketing, they're going to find out they're going to have to trade all of their future picks to get marketing. So, I'm telling y'all, man, the Lakers need to be very careful. The next thing they do could potentially push them into a rebuild that is unnatural. They're not going to want to do it in the way that they're going to be forced to. But that's just how it works. When you don't naturally prepare yourself or protect against that type of thing, you get forced into it. And that's what I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help. But our team is going to find out the hard way, man. People are hard-headed. But like I said, as long as they don't do anything, they can say whatever they want. Oh, we'll mortgage 2 picks, 3 picks. You can say whatever you want. Just don't actually execute those trades that are going to get rid of picks. Because once you do, you're going to find out that you can't undo what you've done there. You cannot undo it. DDL44, I thank you all for watching. Out.